without a clear, definite aim of where I'm going in the future, money can come in my life and go out of my life because there's no purpose for it. I can live the same life on repeat because I have no compass, no internal North Star of where I'm going.
What he's saying right now, guys, that we're sitting here and talking right now, he manifested this 5 years ago.
So the hardest thing about greatness is we resist the work that is required to have greatness.
You know, it's funny because I do believe we are on this earth to serve.
Yeah. For me, the way I look at this is an infinite game takes time and purpose. And when I can mix those two, time and purpose, then I get the currency of fulfillment. And fulfillment is the extrinsic feeling that I get to say I'm on the path of time and purpose.
You pay the same consequences because you're not learning the lessons.
Yeah.
And until you're ready to learn the lesson will keep repeating.
It'll keep repeating.
When you travel to the third world countries, those people have nothing and they freaking appreciate everything.
Yeah.
And we just miserable even living in this country.
Yeah.
Living in this country, we have access to absolutely everything, and we take it for granted.
If you want to change your brain, you have to change your thinking patterns. And the only way you can change your thinking patterns is have a clear vision and then come back and start course correcting your thoughts today.
Welcome to the Inner Wealth and Outer Wealth podcast. Today I have a Ryan Lee. And guys, today, same story, my story, entrepreneur, real estate guy, wrote a book, retiring 10 years. But you know what? We're going to talk today about, I know that you mean retire in 10 years. It doesn't mean that you retired, okay? Because we're going to listen to Ryan, but you never retired, okay? I retired at the age of 28 and it didn't work. That's what my rule of retirement is it wasn't right because I was completely, Ryan, unprepared for it. Nobody told me, hey, if you retire, you are and then everything else felt.
I agree.
Let's talk about your book first. How does the book come out? Tell us your story.
Well, first off, it's an honor to be here. What an amazing place you've built. It's a manifestation of the value that you've created in this world. I love stepping into someone's environment because I get to know them so quickly. The fact that this is your environment, I know you've created massive wealth, massive value for other people in the marketplace. So thank you for letting me experience it. But yeah, I used the word retirement just to meet people where they're at. That's the paradigm that people have is I'm going to trade a certain amount of my life. Hopefully one day I'll have enough money to buy my life back. And so I use that word to meet them where they're at, but I don't believe in retirements. I believe in fulfillment. I believe in financial freedom, which is a function of giving you more options and more control with your life. And so that book, it's really a playbook to do that. It's to buy your life back. Because I mean, if you really think about it, money is code for time. Right? How much time do people trade for money? And one day they hope they have enough money to buy their time back, which is really a function of life.
But why people do that? We're chasing. And I mean, I know you agree with me, but why we chasing, and we forgot about the present moment?
Yeah.
It's a journey.
That's the only place that wealth can be found is right here, right now. Period.
You guys hear that? That's it. The podcast is over.
There we go. We did it.
Can you say it again, please?
That's the only place real wealth exists is in the present moment. Yeah. The present moment is the only place that reality exists. If you're not present, you're not wealthy.
Why? Why we know that? We experience that. Like how can we sell it to everybody else? Just be present. Live in the moment. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. None of the stuff matters. That's the true wealth.
Yeah,
that's the inner wealth. How do we get
it back?
Yeah, or how do people is bullshit. You know, I need another kid. I need another car. I need another jet. I need another million. I need another 100 million. I need another title. I need another medal. Why?
Yeah, I think there's two things to it. So I'm gonna kind of give you the frame that I put into the book. I believe the first thing is there's two economies that are operating in parallel in our world right now. Economy number one, I call it the dependency economy. And in the dependency economy, we are told to go to school, get a job, trade our time, effort, and energy, and we're not smart enough, we're not capable enough, hand our money off to someone else. And if you really think about what comes out of dependency, even if you have quote unquote enough money, because you don't know how you got it, you don't know how to keep it, and you don't know how to turn it into income, you are completely dependent on things outside of your control. And this is where most people live. And it's really hard to be truly wealthy, truly free, when you're dependent. Those two worlds do not exist in parallel.
But if that's Ryan, if that's my mindset, then that's the blueprint that I have, and that's the programming that was sold for me through parents, through teachers,
Yes.
through priests, through coaches, through friends, through the environment, through grandparents.
How do you break it?
How do I free myself?
Well, think about it. Think about the most free people, the most wealthy people, the most independent people. They're not doing average things better. They're doing the exact opposites.
But I just want to make sure when he said wealthy, guys, because people think wealthy is money. He's keep referring. This is not only money.
Yeah.
This is not only money.
Let's actually go back to the root of the word wealth. Wealth is well-being. That's really what it is. It started from the original word of wele, and wele is the overall abundance and well-being of people. Now, money has a component within that, but we've lost the idea that money is wealth. Money is just a tool to attract wealth, which is holistic. It's options, it's freedom, it's control. So the other side of that economy is what I call the ownership economy. The only way you can have real freedom and real abundance is by owning your money, owning your choices, which that's a double-edged sword, right? If I own my choices, I have to own my consequences of those choices, and then owning your results. So when I take ownership over my money and I understand how to buy assets that generate income independent of my time, that's how I start to work towards financial freedom. And once I understand that ownership is really freedom and I have assets that are delivering income, cash flow, and I'm not measuring my success based on net worth, it's so much easier to let go of the future and to start living in the present. And that's always been my gateway is, look, I want to measure success not based on net worth, not based on how much like my 401k is worth, my real estate's worth. None of that matters. It matters how much income those things are generating, how predictable it is, how consistent it is. And once I can see that everything is set, I can let go of the future and I can start living more presently in the present moment.
I'm going to be the advocate.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it's like, we talk here mostly about the inner world, but we're talking here about the outer world. But then somebody's listening to you and they're gonna say bullshit.
Totally.
Bullshit. Well, I don't have money. I don't have this. And how do you start buying assets? It's like you don't have any money.
Here's what I'll give you.
I've been.
This is your game. This is your world. You came from this.
I'm not asking myself. I'm asking you because it's a different perspective, and because you've been now you come up with a book. Everybody freaking like bullshit.
Yeah,
it's like I don't have any money. I have debt. I got to support my kids. I have to. I get it. How do you start buying assets, especially producing it?
Yeah, I'll never forget when I read. So I'd read a bunch of books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Creating Wealth. I read a bunch of books, and they were all about real estate. And for me, every step forward I would take, I ended up taking multiple steps back. Right? It was because my outer world didn't equal my inner world, and I'll never forget when I picked up.
Magic. Okay, we know.
It's not magic.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not a magic. The inner world doesn't match the outer world, and that's what happened because we chasing. We forgot about ourselves. And it's funny, we talked before we started the podcast about it.
Well, that's the whole game. And I read the book Think and Grow Rich, okay? And I remember when I read that book, I thought he was gonna give me some little hack, some little secret. And in fact, when you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, or Napoleon Hill, not Dynamite, Napoleon Hill, in the first page, or even 2 pages, he says secret like 5 or 6 times. And I'm looking for the secret. I read the whole book, I was looking for the secret. The entire secret was in the title. Think. Your thoughts attract what you see in the world. Like if I don't have a clear, major, definite aim for my life, if I'm not extremely clear on what I want and why I want it, then everything that will help me attract that and sustain it, my mind filters out. My reticular activating system filters it right out. So for me, it always starts with understanding, number one, why does money matter? What do I want and why does it matter? If I can get extremely, not hyperficially clear, not like what the world tells me to want, but if I can get extremely clear on what I want and why it matters, now money has meaning in my life. Without that, I will take money, I will let it go, I will trade it for cars, for shoes, for homes, for whatever, because I think those are gonna give me the meaning in my life, and they might add to it, but unless I know what I want and why it matters, money will never stay long, and it'll never dwell with you. You'll never be wealthy. So that's really where it starts. It's having a major, definite aim that then gives money meaning inside of your life. Because I'll tell you what, and you know it from personal experience, getting wealthy, both financially and in your life, it's not easy. You can't buy it. There's no quick trick to it. It requires a daily discipline. And without that, what comes in your life won't stay long without that daily discipline.
Okay. So we done with the inner world, but people, it's how do you work on yourself? Because let's say you have the wrong programming from
Yeah.
generations, right? How do you change the programming? How do you like? And I love it. Like in the Rich Dad and Poor Dad book, it's like I always recommend this book and The Richest Man in Babylon. Like there's a lot of books that I always say like,
Totally,
you
those
have
are
to
the
read
best.
it, right? And how do you, because people look like you said, like you read the book and you look for the answers, and there's no truly the answers is you gotta find them, you gotta work on you gotta
Yeah.
change your mindset, change your perspective, and change your patterns, because whatever you were doing, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
And it's like, what do you mean work on me? I wanna have results, I want money, it doesn't work that way.
So I think it's in chapter 6. It might be chapter 7 of that book, Napoleon's book on Think and Grow Rich. He talked about a major definite aim, and when I tell people this, they react to it the same way I reacted to it in the beginning. That's bullcrap. Just give me the tactic, give me the quick hack, give me the strategy, show me how to get more leverage, whatever. But a major definite aim is getting a vision so clear in your life that your subconscious brain can feel it. You know this, right? Our subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between yesterday, tomorrow, and right now. So if I can implant a vision in my mind that feels real, and I wake up to my conscious mind, if those two worlds, what's in my subconscious mind and my conscious mind, don't connect, then my subconscious mind that was previously filtering everything out now filters those things in to make that major definite aim my reality. So for me, when I first started, when I kept taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, I realized my inner world didn't equal my outer world. And for the first time ever, after I'd bought a bunch of real estate, lost a bunch of money. Like, it's easy to buy real estate. It's easy to use leverage. It's hard to sustain it. I decided to give that a trick. And man, I still use it to this day. I have a major definite aim. In the beginning, I used to read it. Now it's a movie for me. I literally created a movie of what my future version of myself looks like. What does my life look like? What does it feel like? Who am I? And I think about that future version all the time. I can see a vision so clear in my mind right now because I watch it every day of where I live, what cars I drive, where my kids go to school, how I feel intrinsically, the value that I've created. And when I come back to my current present state, now everything filters through that future vision. This is how I've constantly upgraded my life, is by having a clear and present major definite aim that I plug into on a daily basis. That, in my mind, is the secret that no one wants to hear.
You said something else. Let's talk about the manifesting. People will say this bullshit.
Totally.
The manifesting, and you, like I know, that we manifest everything we do. It's like, the second you get up in the morning, it's you program your mind. That's manifesting.
Yeah, it is.
If you go to the same thoughts and the same thing, is your life's not going to change. How do you change?
The daily discipline. You change, like nothing changes overnight. Your paradigm has to change. And the only way your paradigm changes, we have these routes in our brain that have been ingrained in our brain. It's our reticular activating system, and it's our neuroplasticity. If you want to change your brain, you have to change your thinking patterns. And the only way you can change your thinking patterns is have a clear vision and then come back and start course correcting your thoughts today. The majority of our thoughts, I don't know what the percentage is, but the majority of our thoughts, they're repeating thoughts. And the majority of those repeating thoughts are negative. They're self-talk. They're negative thoughts. When we can start to replace small little thoughts with positive proactive thoughts and do that on a daily basis, we literally rewire our brain. And when we rewire our brain, our paradigm changes. And when our paradigm changes, what we see in the world changes. That's, in my mind, that there's no other way to do it. Now, you can accelerate those pathways. When I come to your place and I see what's possible in your life, guess what happens? I have a new sense of belief that if you can do it, I can do it. And then as I get around those people and I practice giving myself new positive thoughts with a major definite aim, my belief in myself starts to up level, starts to change. Yeah, everything changes. So everything starts internally before it exists externally. And we understand that in the world. Like this house, before it was built, what happened first? It was an idea. Yeah. And then it turned into a blueprint. And then that blueprint turned into the construction of this wonderful map. But it existed internal before it ever existed external. That has to be the same with our lives. We have to have an internal vision. We have to course correct the way we believe. And it's not going to happen overnight. I watch my major definite aim every single day. In fact, one of the best books, it wasn't written by Napoleon, but it was someone who studied him. It was called The Master Key. And it was a book that I read that talked about how to apply the concept of a major definite aim and how to envision, because it's really hard for humans. I mean, humans spend more time planning, what they're going to do on the weekends than they do planning their future. That's true, right? I mean, and without a clear, definite aim of where I'm going in the future, money can come in my life and go out of my life because there's no purpose for it. I can live the same life on repeat because I have no compass, no internal North Star of where I'm going.
Okay. If it comes to the inner world, like you said, you had it all, you lost it all, and in 5 years you went back. Somebody who is listening right now, okay, it's a young kid, or maybe somebody's going bankrupt. There was horrible years, 24, 25. How do you start? I mean, I can tell you, it starts right now. When you're listening, it starts right now.
It does.
It doesn't start tomorrow morning. It doesn't start 2 hours from now. It doesn't start on January 1st like everybody else. It starts now. But how do you cut the cord? Where do you start? So, what is your routines? What do you? Because I already, I'm listening to you. Is if somebody's listening right now, we talk about books. I mean, this is the best education. You don't have to go to school. It's work on yourself, inner world, work on you, the results will show up. But what is your cheat code? Or what is your secret?
I believe, and this is the hardest answer. Like, when you're in pain, you want a quick solution, right?
Yes.
We live in a world where everything is rapid, right? If I'm hungry, put something in the microwave. If I don't have a microwave, order on Uber. And if it's not here in 20 minutes, man, I'm freaking out, right? And that's the world that we live in, but that's not the way life works.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
We're screwed, actually.
We are, unless you break that thinking pattern, right? And if I can understand, I like to live my life in decades at a time. I like to think generationally, but I like to act one day at a time. So think in decades, act in days. Okay. And if this is true, then my life as it exists right now is the result of the decisions I made 5 years ago. So if I want a different future for myself, I have to start making little teeny decisions and compound those decisions long enough to manifest the fruits of those decisions. I mean, think about planting a seed. I can't plant a seed and eat the fruit tomorrow. I have to go through the season of planting, of cultivating, of nourishing before I ever get to the harvest. And so this is hard for people to hear who are in pain, but what would it look like if you just started making a different decision? Look at the decisions you made that got you here today, analyze them one by one, then measure those in order of priority towards this new major definite aim that hopefully they're gonna start to get from this. Then start to make the decisions not based on the current self or the past self, but your future self. I can't tell you how powerful this has been. I literally have a picture, I'll show it to you after this on my phone. And I just had AI alter my presence into an older looking man. And I talk to that man every single day because that's me. And when I understand what that man wants, when I understand the life that that man is living in, I know I'm responsible for that older man. And if I don't start making the decisions right now, that older man won't exist. And my greatest fear is getting to what I could have been, the person I could have become, the life I could have created, and realizing I let fear, because that's all it is, I let fear stand in my way.
It's funny that you're saying that. You know that what he's saying right now, guys, that we're sitting here and talking right now, he manifested this 5 years ago. Yeah. And really, the work started 5 years ago. We don't manifest it's going to happen exactly the same. There's no deja vu.
No.
But they do happen a lot, actually. But it's the work that we've done 5 years ago. Like you and I sitting right now, you and I, we did the work 5 years ago. It's really like putting the seed and it just compound effect.
Isn't that powerful?
It is. Look, like
I'm the same way. Like I felt that. I felt that right
really,
there.
Their work happened 5 years ago. Now you're sitting and now you're listening to this. It's like So wherever the place you're in right now, it's the time, it's the patience, because that's the happiness. That's slow dopamine release. That's what the happiness is, not the instant gratification. That's what the porn starts. Jerking off, alcohol, drugs. It's instant, and you're teaching your body.
Yeah.
Versus, go back to earth, slow down, be quiet, stillness, spend time with yourself, spend time with your thoughts. Just kind of like you said, build the new blueprint and be patient. And it's like it. And even Ryan, even right now, I'm 53 years old. What the? I'm not supposed to do this shit, dude. I'm 53, dude. I'm supposed to, be this, have this. dude, it's Sunday right now at 1:00. I'm not supposed to do this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bullshit. I am exactly what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly. But we don't want to. Like because our brain play tricks on us. Resolve this for me or for somebody who is listening. Because how do we stop listening to this devil, to those voices in our head that is like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to making me this millions. My wife's supposed to have sex with me. I'm like, I'm supposed to have wife, kids, millions. You know what I mean?
How do we resolve it? I talk about this all the time to the people I serve. And this goes back to where we started this podcast on the idea of retirement. If you think about retirement as we've been sold it, we've been sold grind, sacrifice, save, and one day you'll have enough and stop. Human beings are not built that way. There is no homeostasis. There is no status quo. You're either growing and expanding or you're shrinking and retracting.
Yep.
Period.
That's it.
And so when people, like if I can just break that mentality with people of stopping, there is no finish line. If you let go of the idea that one day you're going to cross a finish line and everything is perfect, once you let go of that, you get to lean into the bliss and the beauty of comfortable dissatisfaction. And that is really
you end up like me, committing suicide.
Well, you end up like you, getting to okay, so I can't remember. I need to figure out what book this was. I read this book and it blew my dang mind. And it was this idea in this book. He said that human beings, if we measure the level of experience that we can have in life, if a 10 is the absolute most phenomenal, highest level of bliss, 1 is the lowest of the low dissatisfaction and just on the brink of suicide, right? Those extremes. But what this individual said in his book, he said that the only way you'll ever have context to experience, understand, and appreciate a 10 is if you've gone through a 1. Without a 1, 10s have you're not even capable of experiencing a 10 because you have no context to measure it against. We are humans of duality. And most people today are so comfortable with the idea, or they've been sold this lie that they have to be comfortable. They live in between a 4 and a 7. If it gets too hard in their life.
So what happens, Ryan? So in comfort, you're dying.
You're dying.
Men are dying.
You're dying.
And remember, 4 to 7, it's a pretty average life.
It's a horrible life.
Because, you don't know if the steak is good until you have a fucking bad steak.
Yeah.
If I give you the best steak in the world or the best lobster, let's say steak lobster style for 30 days, on the 31st day, you're going to throw up or you're going to hit me in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, gotta get this shit away from me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You have to have that opposite.
Exactly. But why? I get it because, I always say your ego die during suffering. You got to suffer. You got to go through pain. But I always tell people, our life is to experience all the feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
That's what life is all about. So when you're going through some hardship right now, troubles, or your suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, all this stuff, it's like your body is telling you, wake up, I don't want to live here anymore.
It's giving you signals.
And it's giving you signals. And sometimes you got to go back in order to appreciate that you're even alive.
Yeah.
That you still have all these reasons to live for. There's a lot of people going through. But in order, you know that I completely
totally
get it, that you need to experience 1 or even minus 100 in order to
have a 10.
Be appreciated and have a 10, because then you know what good and what bad is. So we have to have different emotions, but we don't want it. We don't want to be there.
I think here's the number one thing that humans have to get comfortable with.
Being uncomfortable. Let's start with that.
Let's also go to the idea of resistance. Like the hardest thing about greatness is we resist the work that is required to have greatness. There's no other way. And it's this idea of resistance, right? And when you let go of resistance and you just let life come at you and flow through you, then you stop being scared. You stop being afraid because it's part of the process. There's this not stereotype. What is it called? It's an archetype. And the archetype is the hero's journey, right? It's in every great movie. Everything that we love in life, we attribute to the hero's journey. And the hero's journey has to go from a world of known to a world of unknown. When you get into the world of unknown, this is when you start to develop. It's when your faith is tested. It's when the vision that you had that called you from the known into the unknown is manifested. How committed are you to this process? And every hero ends up in the abyss. And in the abyss, this is where you're tested. How much did you actually want the thing that set you off on the vision to begin with? And most people in the abyss, they quit. They go back to comfort. They go back to safety. But the hero who perseveres through, and think about every movie. Think about Gladiator. Think about Braveheart. Even movies like, Cars. Every hero has to go to the abyss, learn the lesson that the abyss can only teach them. Then they come out of the abyss as a brand new human. That's evolution. That's expansion. That's the game. And so if you resist the abyss and you go back to comfort, your life will just be in between those fours and sevens. If you go to the abyss, experience and feel the abyss, you realize you're capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. You're worthy of so much more than you give yourself credit for. And here's the biggest thing. God has called you to be more than you are today. He sends you to the abyss on purpose.
You know what I always say?
Yeah.
God doesn't give you a cross you cannot carry.
I love that. It's so true.
That's it.
Yeah, it's so true.
And if you don't have problems,
then you don't have faith.
Yeah, and then you're not even ready. You're not strong enough.
Yeah.
The bigger the problem, God knows that you're capable.
Yeah.
That you're capable of doing it. You know what I mean? And and we have to carry the cross. And what happens is, on each level, it takes new hobbies, new lessons, and what happens is, and you have to forget what it helps you on the previous levels. And I'm not saying those levels are lower or, you know what I mean? But it's the journey.
It's the journey.
You know what I mean? Like you can go on Mount Everest or you can hit the same peak every single time and you see completely something else. Or, experience different things, different thoughts. And the same thing on every level of your life.
And you probably realize going through this over and over again that you're never actually carrying the cross by yourself. Mm-hmm. Like God's calling you to a vision that is incapable of success unless you lean on him. Like I love that idea that chase a vision, chase a dream that's going to fail without divine intervention. And that's really what carrying that cross is. It's leaning into your God-given potential and realizing that your God-given potential, and this is why you're still doing what you're doing. I mean, I truly believe this, right? You're here on Sunday with me, running a podcast, building an empire to inspire more people, to help pull them out of the abyss, give them some hope. And here's the greatest currency of all. Yes, there will be money that will come from this, right? Dollars follow value. But the greatest currency that a man or a woman can have is when they chase their God-given dreams in pursuit of other people, helping other people, because the talents that you were given weren't given to you to have. They were given to you to use in the service of others. And the currency that comes from that is fulfillment. Fulfillment can't be bought. You'll never find fulfillment in a car, in a house, in a pair of shoes, but you will find fulfillment in using your God-given talents to make the world a better place.
You know, it's funny because I do believe we are on this earth to serve.
Yeah.
That's it. But sometimes we got to go through the lessons, through all this hardship, through all the betrayals in order to get there.
That's the only way to get there.
You know, the only way to get there.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it will never, because that's the only fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's the purpose always got to be bigger than you.
It always has
it's
to be
not
bigger.
about you. And I get it. You got to go to the to the parts of your life or the stage of your life or the stage of the journey that it's about me. And it's like, but some people get stuck there and they never leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I can tell you they live miserable, unfulfilling life.
I know.
I can guarantee you because I know quite a few of them. I've done everything right, Jarek. I'm fucking miserable. I know, I've been there, brother.
Yeah.
If it's all about you, guess what? But there's the other side of the card or of the medal, because a lot of people become people pleasers. You know what I mean? Because suddenly I'm here to serve, and they please others with the cost of themselves. And now they alone and they kind of hurt.
Yeah.
How do we change the people pleasing in self-growth and the inner wealth and the self-development?
You know, that's a phenomenal question.
Because if you're a giver, you're a giver.
If
right?
you're a giver, you're a giver.
There's a lot more takers than givers.
There is a lot more takers than givers.
And then it takes you out of your tank.
I think it comes back to almost where we started the conversation. When you have such a clear vision of the mission that you're on, God's given you a mission. He's given me a mission. And when you have a clear vision around that, you will do anything to defend it. Sometimes you have to tell the takers that this is the only way they can take from you is if they're in pursuit of the vision that you're building. And that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. But any like if you think about life in opportunity costs, the opportunity cost of not chasing down a God-given vision is so much bigger than course correcting and helping someone on something that has nothing to do with your God-given vision. And so for me, as I've gotten more and more and more clear, I've probably pushed out more business than I've brought in because I know exactly who I'm called to serve. I know exactly how I'm called to serve them. And when someone doesn't meet that criteria, I can fully understand. I know I can help you financially, but you don't resonate with me personally. And so therefore, you have to get your solutions from someone else. God's given a lot of people talents,
It's
right?
funny because what you're saying is like when I going through the process, I was finding a lot of transactional people.
Yeah.
When I turn my unconditional love of God to unconditional love of me, you know, the Bible and the people that I surround myself with, it's like we have a competition who want to give more.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
it's unconditional.
Yeah, it
You know what I
totally
mean?
is.
It's not based on transactional. You got to go to transactions. You got to go through the people in life, you know, on the beginning or whatever stage of your life or stage of your business. Even when you meet, you know, a woman that, you know, your partner, your spouse, it's like you kind of figured out, like, you know, what you both have to offer.
Yeah.
But the second you turn this unconditional love, then everything else outside changes. But you have to start with you, you know, because God loves us unconditionally, period.
Totally.
It's He loves us. Doesn't matter if you're in jail, you're a drug addict, you're a serial killer, He still loves you the same. You know what I mean?
100%.
God loves you. It's just like, you know, but we don't have the love to ourselves. I'm getting goosebumps. We have, you know, we live in the lower energy of blame and shame, and that's why we hit the depression, anxiety, suicide. We are so many unhappy people.
I think that's true freedom right there. True freedom is letting go of the blame and shame to the person who's already paid the price for all the blame and the shame.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I didn't even know this podcast was going to go there. But that's like, if I really think about freedom and this idea, you know, kind of coming back to the idea of retirement. Retirement is transactional. That's all it is. Freedom is transformational. Freedom is a lifestyle. And the only way you can truly be free is when you understand that you were created for a purpose. I mean, okay, so I'm gonna give you this. Here's my framework for going from scarcity to abundance, okay? And then I'm gonna give you my framework from going from abundance to prosperity. To go to scarcity from abundance, you have to ask and answer 3 questions. What do I want, and why does it matter? What do I want, and why does it matter? And when I have clear mental and emotional connection to those 2 things, the third question is, who do I have to become? This is how God gets us moving. This is how God gets us to face our fears and to start moving forward on this hero's journey. Because becoming is the reason we're here on earth. It is the reason that we feel the way we feel. We have to become someone new. And I love that idea. But then once you've solidified abundance in your life, what do I want? Why does it matter? Who do I have to become? This is a constant journey. Going from abundance to prosperity is about 3 different questions. And these 3 different questions are, who am I? Think about the depth of that question. You're a son of God. The people listening to this podcast are sons and daughters of God. Who am I? If I'm a son of the highest creator, the person who created everything, then my capacity is abundant. It's limitless. So who am I? Then why am I? And if I can ask those 2 questions, who am I and why am I? And now I'm co-creating with the creator of the universe, then I can ask, how do I?
And
Who
it's
am
funny,
I?
we
Why
give
am
it
I? How
titles
do I?
like I'm the father, I'm the husband, I'm the owner, I'm the this. And it's funny, like that question is so hard and so deep.
And we resist it because they're hard questions. They're deep questions. No, there's no instant gratification in those questions. No, it's a lifelong journey. And so I think those are the things. And you know, I wrote this book to help people get out of scarcity and into abundance. And coming back to money, that's what I believe money is. Money is a tool. It'll take you wherever you wish, but it will never replace you as the driver. So I have to get really, really clear on what do I want and why does it matter and who do I have to become. And if I can start to master my money in the ownership economy, not the dependency economy, I have a framework to buy my life back. And when I can buy my life back, which is a function of time, I can start asking the questions that cause so much depression in people today. It's because they're not chasing their purpose. Once I have the capacity and space, I can ask myself, who am I?
But
Why
Ryan,
am I?
I find my purpose in the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
My entire life, I didn't know what my purpose was. Now, making money wasn't my purpose.
No, it never
I
is.
needed just for security.
Totally.
This was never my purpose.
Totally.
And I'm suddenly and I'm like, what is my purpose? What I live for? Like, there's more from me from life than just making money, buying more apartment buildings, more real estate. And that's why I was miserable. And I find the purpose when I was like really in bed for 40 days and almost, completely depressed, all my muscles left, and being completely suicidal.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit.
Well, yeah, and you hit it. Like you hit financial security and you thought that was the end of the game, but it was the beginning. Yeah. Right? Once you hit financial security, the questions that you had to ask and then answer.
20 years.
It's a lifelong journey.
20 years. It happens when I retire, I was 28 and it hit me at the age of 48. 20 years of putting the mask, I was looking for something, and all the stuff that I was chasing, it wasn't purpose. It was just goals. And every time I accomplished them.
But look what it set you up for. Those 20 years set you up for this next decade of your life.
Oh, hell.
The story you get to tell, the impact you get to have. I mean, you were telling me the conference that you went to, you were able to stand on stage and give a minute-long presentation, and it was transformational. That person on stage that gave that short speech, that wouldn't have existed.
Oh yeah. He was never there.
It set you up. That 20 years set you up for the calling that God had for you. And everything has to be in God's timing. I have no idea. I have no idea the timing. I just know that God has a plan. I don't know. I don't know the middle. I know the beginning.
Then
and
help
I know
me
the
out,
end.
brother. I'm always struggling with surrender. Like seriously, my 2024 and 2025, I spent literally 2 years how to surrender. Surrender to God, surrender to myself. Because remember, I'm coming. Pump his ass 20 years ago. I know everything. I'll have it in control. Blah blah blah. All this bullshit. And then I realized nothing is in my control.
So give me the secret to that, because surrender is something I struggle with.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you, because it's been 2 years and I'm still like, it's like every time I'm trying, like, no, I gotta let this go. It's like just surrender. It's like just let the God knows what is the reason, what is the purpose in the whole thing you do. And then I was like, no, but I can make this like a little bit better. I'm gonna tweak it, and then I'll bring my old version of Jarek. He comes out. It up, and then I gotta bury him again. And it's like, why didn't I listen to the old Jarek? You know what I mean? It just, come on, man.
It's that ego trying to protect us, right? It really is. And man, I don't know if anyone has the secret to that. Like that's the game. But I think sometimes we have to relearn the same lesson over and over again, right?
How many lessons? I don't want to learn anymore. Like this is but it's like I keep telling, like I don't want to be a hypocrite right now. Yeah. But you have the same lessons, the same people, the same betrayals, the same. You pay the same consequences because you're not learning the lessons. Yeah. And until you're ready to learn the lesson will keep repeating. It'll
keep repeating. Yeah, you have to go through that level over and over and over again until you're ready to level up.
And then I was like, am I stupid? It's like at what point I'm going to learn? Okay, something's going to happen completely like unconsciously that is like, oh, that's it? Because a lot of times we have the breakthrough on the simplest things.
On the simplest. And that's, you can never plan
like, what?
That. Yeah, it's 100%. But then the second your paradigm, your perspective shifts, you see the world differently. Everything changes.
And they're like, why didn't I see this 10 years ago?
I know. I totally get you on that.
It's like, it's hard to learn the awareness, the consciousness. It's like, I think it's just, we have to go through the process.
We do.
And trust the process. Like let's talk about trust the process.
Okay.
In like everything we do, just trust the process. And if somebody's listening, like, well, what does he mean by trusting the process?
Yeah. Okay, so here's a framework that I have for trust the process. And it comes back to the idea of there is no finish line. If there is no finish line, I can stop waiting until I cross that line thinking everything is going to be perfect. Life is a beautiful dichotomy of highs and lows, positives and negatives. Without one, I don't have any context for the other. So if I can just let go of the fact that I'm never going to get to a place where my life isn't challenging and hard, then I can stop being surprised when my life is challenging and hard.
You know what I did?
What?
Like seriously.
Yeah, I want.
You know, for me it stopped. Like I know it never is gonna end, and I think this life is preparing us from the life afterwards.
I 100% agree with that, my friend.
Like,
it's so good,
I don't
Jarek.
want to this shit up because seriously, like this is only like 100 years. I want to live 140. What about the rest? Like I bought it. I must put on this earth to freaking serve it.
Yeah.
Don't screw this one up, Jarek. And seriously, and like, okay. That's it. It's like, I don't want to screw this up. Like, I want to go to heaven. It's like, I want to be good God. Like,
Yeah.
even though I screw up many things, like, I deserve to be in hell.
Well, no way, no way.
I gotta go.
All the price has been paid for all of us. It really has. But I totally get you on that. And I think part of that healthy understanding of right and wrong, good and bad, that's inherent to us, and that helps us continue to progress. But here's the way I look at it. I look at it as what I call the infinite game. I think it was Simon Sinek who came up with this idea.
I love this infinite game.
Love the idea of infinite game. And the infinite game, like in a finite game, there's beginning and end, there's winners and losers. Think about retirement that way, right? There's a finite game, there's winners and losers, and typically most Americans are losing that game because they're trading time for money, and they'll never have enough money to be financially free using the model that is given to them. So if we take the finance out of it, the goal of the infinite game is to keep playing the game at an infinitely higher level. Take time out of the equation. Like, God is an infinite being. If there's life after death, then the infinite game is quite literally an infinite game. It doesn't stop after our death. It begins with understanding that God has a plan for us, and expansion or development is infinite. And so for me, the way I look at this is an infinite game takes time and purpose. And when I can mix those two, time and purpose, then I get the currency of fulfillment. And fulfillment is the extrinsic feeling that I get to say I'm on the path of time and purpose. And I really believe this about all of us. You've been given talents that are 100% unique to you. Your story, your way you communicate, the audience that you reach, no one else can do what you do the way you do it. You have a God-given fingerprint that is meant to be pressed on this world to help other people. And when you do that, the fulfillment that you get, it keeps you driving. It keeps you moving. It keeps you on a Sunday at 1 o'clock when you say, I shouldn't have to do this. There's something inside of you at a higher level that says, I want to do it. I'm called to do it. I have a purpose to do it. And so therefore, I will surrender and submit to that purpose. And so for me, the infinite game is time multiplied by purpose equals fulfillment. That's the game. And it's just taking time and purpose.
What we're doing right now, the podcast and all this stuff, it's a new game for us, right? And what happened is we're in it right now, and we're just getting fulfilled and getting purpose. The second this stuff goes on autopilot,
it's time for another game.
That's it's like time to step up and just figure out better way of doing it. And it just like, because like you said, and you said it like 3 times already on this podcast, it never stops.
Never stops.
It never stops. So it's some people, go to midlife crisis, or some people retire when they're 60 and they're never ready for it. And they miss it like the whole life. You said on the beginning of the podcast that we waiting for something, like we're putting all this stuff away instead of being in the present moment, because this is more important, this is whatever it is.
Well, it comes back to that idea of resistance. We're trying to put enough away to not have any more pain in our life. We're resisting the fundamental reality of life. And when we can stop resisting, and dude, I struggle with this every day.
But that's the stop resisting is abundance.
That's it.
But we are abundant. Like, I never realized that until that I have to just kind of like burn it that I am abundant. I am abundance. I am love. That's who I am. And it's like, and I still do it on a daily basis. I screw up a lot of times, but it's like, I spend the time with myself. I look it in the eyes. It's like, what I mean? And that's what, like, it's Ryan. I love my morning routine.
Oh.
Right? Like, I love to go on the ocean, sit myself, just meditate, pray, manifest. And even when I'm talking to myself, I'm kind of like cheat a little bit. And then when I have a conversation with God, because I have God within me, and I was like, God, what I'm trying to I cannot lie to you. Like, the truth. And it's having like the truly everyday honest conversation with yourself.
Totally.
Because when you're true with yourself, then none of the stuff you're taking, like, all the power away from everybody else, from all the highly opinionated people that they don't care about you, because you're the only one that love yourself, and you got to take care of them.
That comes back to the idea of freedom. The most dangerous person in the room at any point in time is the person who has nothing to hide. Mm-hmm. Right? When you're trying to hide something.
This book helped me a lot, taking all the power from everybody. And then, now I took the power away from me.
Yeah.
First, I did it with people. Then I did it with myself, because I said, and now, it's like, that's what it was, the surrender.
It is.
It's just like, just give it to God. And it's like.
And then you have nothing to hide. No one can hurt you. No one can take you down. You've given away, you're an imperfect being, but you're backed up by the perfect being. And if you have nothing to hide, you're not trying to please anyone. And if you lean into your God-given talents, your life will be course corrected by God to put you on the path where you're most adequately and built to serve. And do that, that's fulfillment, right? When you're serving the people that you're built to serve, you can talk to them in such a way and reach them in such a way that if you try to go outside and take care of everyone, you can't reach everyone. But you have a calling to reach the people that you can reach.
I think you only can reach the people that are on the conscious level that want to be reached. They're going to listen. They're going to hear the message when they're ready to hear the message.
But even within that, they'll only some of the people within that realm will hear the message from you. Mm-hmm. And so as you just get clear on, look, God, you have a purpose for me. Teach me that purpose, show me that purpose, and let me surrender to lean into that purpose. And it never happens. I can't plan the middle. I know the middle has a divine plan. I know the beginning and I know the end, but I can't plan the middle. And yes, I make plans, but I am 100% willing to course correct and surrender my plans to a higher plan. Mm-hmm. And that's freedom, man. That's freedom. It really is. And it's that this might be so far over other people's heads as they're listening to this because they're struggling right now financially. And this is why I do believe the greatest form of misery right now is this idea of dependency. We've been bred into and live in a dependency economy. We give away all of our freedom to choose, to act, to own our time. We give it away to everyone. Jobs, careers, taxes, markets, inflation, we're completely dependent. And the bridge that people have to cross into the ownership economy is the bridge of freedom. It's ownership over my life, ownership over my money, which is a function of my life, ownership over my results. And when I can start using those things together, and money's just a tool. If I can buy more time in my life, I can ask more questions about purpose. If I ask more questions about purpose with the time that I have, then I can start leaning into the highs and the lows that will come from chasing a purpose-driven life. And if I stop resisting and start surrendering to the duality of highs and lows, then that's how I'm going to find an undercurrent of fulfillment. It doesn't mean it's easy. I'm going to have fulfillment even in the hardest times, right? When you're on a God-given mission, that's the fulfillment that carries you through those hardest times. And so I really believe that that this is the purpose of life, that we have a mission, we have a purpose. I don't want to look at that future version of myself and realize who I could have been, because when I realize who I could have been, it's not about me. It's about the people I could have served, beginning in my own home, my kids, my spouse, my community. And if I don't live up to that God-given potential, it's not just me that I'm letting down. I'm letting down the people that I have been given stewardship to influence and impact. And so I believe that's why we're here, is to buy ourselves enough time and space to lean into that hero's journey, to live a purpose-driven life, and to use money all along the way as a tool to do that. And yes, it might come with bigger homes, traveling more frequently, all of those things that the world tells us are measurements of success, but we'll never find fulfillment in those things. Those just kind of charge our battery up so we can get back out to living a purpose-driven life.
But seriously, the sooner you climb the ladder and you leave yourself, you don't work. What is the true wealth?
Yeah,
that's why, and I keep talking, on the podcast that monks and Buddhas never comes to celebrities or the billionaires. It's like, help me out. It's the other way around, and they have nothing.
That's such a good point.
You know what I mean? They have nothing, and they have a happy, fulfilling, purposeful life. Seriously, the people, when you travel to the third world countries, those people have nothing and they freaking appreciate everything.
Yeah.
And we just miserable even living in this country.
Yeah.
Living in this country, we have access to absolutely everything, and we take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We older men, older. We experience. Let's say we're not older, right?
I keep telling my kids that.
But I love it. But you know what I love it? Like even on the podcast, if you're still listening, we keep talking about books. We keep talking about stuff that was written, like Bible written thousands years ago. Books like Napoleon Hill, 100 years ago. It's still current. It never changed.
Yeah. Well, truth is truth.
What the knowledge is.
Yeah.
The knowledge is on the books that is easy to reach.
Yeah.
And because if you don't want to, I know the experience gonna teach you the most, but you gotta go in the same where you have a games like a computer games. you know, you get stuck on one level for so long until you learn the lessons.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next one. And you think in the next one, shit, it's still like it starts from the beginning.
Yeah.
But we have more awareness. I want to talk about awareness. We are definitely more stern. We are definitely stronger. And we think, no, this time I'll get it. You know what I mean? And then boom, boom, boom. And it's go to whatever, 5 years, 3-year period, 10 years. Shit, I did not learn, and boom, go back again,
Yeah.
and it's just the new chapters. How do you enjoy the new chapters of life?
Oh man, that's a good one. You know, going back
The
to what
unknown.
they're unknown. Yeah, they're unknown. But for me, it comes back to this idea that in life there are fundamental principles, absolute truths. And these absolute truths, they exist in finance, they exist in health, they exist in relationships. And what gets really confusing in this world is we're thrown so many half-truths. And a half-truth is a partial truth mixed with a lie. And a half-truth, partial truth mixed with a lie, we can never have sustainable success with that. And so if you understand and learn.
I disagree with that. I'll tell
Bring
you
it.
why. Because everybody's different. So we take, let's say, Johnny and Frank, and we take a little bit from here, and only what works for you only work for you. What worked for me only worked for me. There's 8 billion people. There's not one human the same.
Oh, I totally agree with
So
that.
we have to take all the lessons from everybody, but we have to learn the lessons.
Totally agree with that.
It's like right now we're sitting. You have no idea how many breakthroughs I have.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I appreciate you, brother.
Oh man, I'm
Like
same way.
I'm like listening, and I'm like, holy shit, this. Oh my God, I got to bring this. You know, it's that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But everybody we are all oneness, right? I mean, it's like this world is separated us by color, by freaking money, by financial status, by educational status, by all this, right? But we all oneness. Our soul is like us a one,
Totally agree.
right? But at the same time, we are different humans, but we experience the same thing financially, in relationship, emotionally, physically, mentally. That's why, like, you can say to somebody else, you can say one sentence, it's like, holy shit, I
It'll hit
relate
them
to
differently.
this.
Yeah. Let's come back to this idea because I want to get your opinion on this because I really do believe that there are foundational truths that are true for all humanity. That's an absolute truth.
This.
We are tweaking. We're taking it into our world, but here's the reality. Like,
So how come this Bible is written so many thousands years ago, and everything is so true, and everybody reads it differently? And then you read it, everything you go through. Okay, let me read this today, and it's like, how did they know this was like today?
well, consider that. Okay, let's just use the 10 Commandments, for example.
Okay.
Those 10 Commandments are absolute truths. If you want to live a more happy and abundant life, align your actions with the 10 Commandments. Now, how that applies to your life, that's where the uniqueness comes in. Like how I apply that to my life with my family. But like, thou shalt not kill, that's an absolute truth, right? Don't kill, and you're probably going to be happy in life, right? You're going to have more blessings than you have consequences of that outcome. But that's what I'm talking about with an absolute truth, right? When it comes down to life, there are absolute truths. Now, how I apply that to my life is unique to my paradigm, my background, my upbringing, my awareness. But if someone can learn the absolute truths in Christianity, in health and fitness, I mean, think about this. They're like calories in, calories out. If I want to lose weight, it simply comes down to that. How do I move more than I take in? How do I expend more than I'm consuming and storing? Those are the absolute truths that I'm talking about. So when it then comes to that, the hardest part about the world that we live in today is there's so much information, and most of the information takes an absolute truth and mixes in a partial lie.
That's a gift, right? Because now we have a global, like, well, we have a global economy, but we have global database.
We do
Like,
have a
that's
global
why
database.
AI is so freaking like.
But this is the challenge of humanity. We have to weed through all the noise and get to the foundation of truth. And when you weed through all the noise and get to the foundation of truth, life honestly gets simpler. I mean, think about it like this. You live right here on the ocean. Have you ever scuba dove before?
Oh, hell yeah.
I love scuba diving. Right? On the surface.
So we skiers or scuba diver?
We're both, man. We're outdoor. We're adventure. We're life, right? That's what it's all about. But think about scuba diving. On the surface, if I'm snorkeling, it's loud. The waves are crashing. The water's coming in my snorkel, tube. I can lift my head up. It's loud. But underneath, just 30 feet down, it gets so quiet.
Dude.
And you see the world in a way that you could never see it at the top. It's immersion. And
I
so
think that's what we love.
that's what I love. I love being so quiet down there.
I think that's what we love.
And you see, like I can interact with the ocean life, looking at it face to face, 30, 40, 50 feet down, and I can't see it from up there. It looks blurry from up there.
Yep.
And I can see it as an outside looking in. But this is what it comes back to truth, right? Truth is truth. And if I can align my life with truth, right, life actually gets simpler. It gets quieter. And then if I can apply truth consistently in my life, it doesn't mean life's going to be easier because that's not the purpose of life. But if I can apply real universal truth in my life consistently, give more than I take, right? Thou shalt love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor more than thy love. Those are the truths about life. When I apply them to my life gets quieter. It gets easier. It gets simpler. And then all the noise at the surface, I can look at that. I can filter that. But if I can align my actions fundamentally with truth, absolute truth, that's success right there. Success is just living a purpose-driven life guided by core truths, principle-based truths. And if my life ever gets off course, you hear this all the time from people in, let's use prison, right? They realized that what they were doing wasn't leading to the happiness. It might have given a short-term dopamine hit. They might have made more money. They might have had more highs.
That's it. Yeah.
But when they realize that truth is quiet, it's slow, it's principle based, they come back to that and their life slows
It's funny.
down.
Quicker, like fast is slow.
Oh my
More
gosh.
is less.
Yes.
Loud, the chaos is the stillness.
Yeah.
And it's funny. The quickest, the soonest you experience that, the happier you're gonna be. But Ryan, to finish the podcast, there's your camera.
What a conversation. It's been so good.
Love it. Here's your camera. For somebody who's struggling with depression, anxiety, suicide, it's really going through the hard time right now. What would you tell them? Give them word of advice, word of encouragement.
Man, this is the hardest place. And I want to hear your opinion on this too, because I think this is the universal truth. And it's hard to say this.
And by the way, I'm going to use the word, the universal truth. The 10 Commandments, it's like, I love how you put it.
Thank you.
There's like, I have quite a few breakthroughs, just so you know, brother. I really appreciate you for being here.
Likewise. I think the hardest part about being in a moment of depression and being in a moment of anxiety, there's a lot of mental stuff, so I don't want to discount any of that, because that our mental well-being establishes how we feel. And I've been with so many people, I've been in those circumstances where I just don't feel right. And it's so hard to see the world in a state of abundance. I know how that feels. If we can go below the surface for just a moment, and this isn't a universal solution, but I think it is the solution, it's getting outside of yourself. When I was 18, 19, 20, I lived a very selfish life, very selfish. Everything was about me. And I'll never forget when I hit my rock bottom. My rock bottom was when one of my best friends died. It could have been me. And for the first time ever, I started asking questions of, if I don't want to be in the casket laying next to this dude, how do I have to change my life? And as I started changing my life, getting to be more proactive, more of a purpose-driven human being, I had this twinge that God was there. I kept trying to ignore him. I felt like I was so far behind life. I didn't want to slow down and figure out how to bring God into my life. I just wanted to get back on track. And the more I leaned into this idea of turning over and surrendering my life to God, the more I felt called to go out and share God with other people. And I actually came right here to Florida. Lived in Tampa, Florida, Immokalee, Naples, Bonita Springs.
Love it.
Oh man, I shared the gospel with people who had nothing. You talk about people who had nothing. I would knock on trailer parks, trailers' doors, and there were 15 people living in a trailer with no air conditioning, sweating. That was the life. They were so grateful to be here. And here's what I learned. When I can get outside of myself and I can start to see the world through other people's eyes, I realize that I have it so amazing. It doesn't matter what I'm going through. My life is pretty simple when I look at it through the life of other people. And it's so easy to become grateful for what little or what abundance I have. And when I can start living through the life of other people, acting in a way, how do I serve humanity, my neighbor, the person next to me, I realize that the fastest path to correcting anxiety and depression is gratitude. And gratitude is realizing that no matter how incomplete your life feels, it's whole when you add in the infinite creator of everything. That wholeness that comes from having God in your life and allowing yourself to be grateful as hard as your life might be. As hard as your life might be, knowing that difficult time is serving a purpose. I'll give you an example with my wife. My wife went through I don't know how women do it. She's had 3 amazing kids. I'm so grateful for all of them. But on her 3rd pregnancy, second pregnancy, she was so sick. And I won't go into all the back reasons why, but she was so sick. And one night after having not slept, I mean, if you've ever not slept for a long period of time, she hadn't slept for a week straight. She was a walking zombie. And she was pleading with God. She was pleading with God, God, take it from me. I can't handle it. I don't care what it costs, take it from me. And she had a very clear revelation that this experience wasn't given to her for her to, for it to be taken away. It was given for her to help other people. She didn't understand it, but she had meaning in the experience. And to this day, it's 20 years after that experience. To this day, she gets calls from women who she never knew, who heard her story, and they call her up and say, how did you get through this moment in time? And she shares her story, a moment of hope, and she realizes that experience was given to her to help other people. And gratitude really comes down to that. God's going to give us what we need, not for the sake of making our life easier, but for us to turn around and have perspective and empathy to help the people that are coming behind us. And that gratitude, no matter as high or as low as it is, when you live a life of gratitude, it's hard to be depressed. Now, again, there's chemical things in life.
Few, they don't cross.
Yeah, seriously. They don't. So I don't know. That's the secret to life for me is I try to always, no matter where I'm at, and this is why you start your day the way you start it. Mm-hmm. You go and you find a sense of stillness and you acknowledge the gratitude.
Appreciations for, you know what I mean? The stillness, the quietness, the kind of like, be with me, be with nature, be with God. It's like, I always tell that God whispers. So just shut up. That's
the only way you can hear him, right?
Seriously.
Get quiet.
Yeah, oh seriously.
Gosh, I love that.
You know what I mean?
I love that.
So, Ryan, thank you. I really appreciate you. Tell people where they can find you and, your book and everything.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you bringing me here to your house, to the podcast. For me, I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to help people retire in 10 years or less. But that's, again, like we started this podcast, that's not the purpose. That's the gateway. And the gateway really comes down to you, no matter who you are, rising up so that you can live free. And that's how we measure our success inside of the world that I serve through financial freedom in 10 years or less. But the mantra, the call to action is rise up and live free. You've got one shot at this thing called life. I've got one shot at this thing called life. The last thing I want to do is get to the person I could have been and realize I sold that person short. So for me, that's what this book is all about. It's a framework to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less, quite literally the framework. It's going to show you the path that you're on. It's going to show you the alternative world that you could be in. And this is how you built your wealth. We're coming back to foundational principles. Like every wealthy person, whether they consciously call it a principle or not, they followed principles that led to real wealth. And so we just lay out what those principles are in a framework that anyone can apply them. But then the last section of this book is chasing your God-given purpose. I really believe that's the thing. I'm going to give you another book. Pastor Mark Batterson, he wrote a book called Chase the Lion. And the lion is your dream. You have a dream. Every one of us have a dream. And most people, when they hear the lion roar, we run the other way. Our dreams are scary. They require us to become someone new. And the objective of life is to chase your lion. My goal is to remove the constraint on money so you can chase your lion.
Thank you. I appreciate you for being here. You know what to do. Like us, follow, share this. If anybody can help this podcast, send it to your friend. Thank you. Love life.
Thank you for listening. Leave your comments and subscribe for more insights on mastering the inner and outer wealth.